We're here at 419 South Monterey in Villa Park, Illinois for a special fire department training procedure that's going on behind me at this one-story house that has been condemned and will be demolished because of a flooding issue. The property has been purchased by the Village of Villa Park. However, before the building was taken down, the fire department has accessed the building and has permission to use the house as a fire investigation training facility. And on hand here was not only the Villa Park Fire Department, but also the Villa Park Police Department, DuPage County Sherrif's Department, the Downers Grove Fire Department, Oakbrook Terrace, Oakbrook, the Roselle Fire Department, Carroll Stream, and Bloomingdale. So it's a DuPage County-wide procedure and training session, and has been going on for several days. What they're able to do here is simulate 4 different scenarios, even in this one-story home. And in the 4 scenarios, what they were showing were an arson investigation for a fire that was intentionally started on the first floor, a candle that fell from a plastic table in a bedroom and in a den area and fell onto the floor and started a fire. Also a child playing with matches, and an electrical cord fire that started because of a cord that was disrupted or cut by a chair or table in the basement. Each of these scenarios are very common, and in fact are likely incidents that have taken place in the Village of Villa Park and of course throughout DuPage County. So they are important things to investigate, to simulate, and to learn and train on for our fire department and those in the rest of the county. Now, we got a tour of the facility and what was simulated in the fire, so let's take a look.
This is strictly for fire investigation. The fires were not set as training fires. They were set as props, so the investigators would come in, process the scene as they normally would, and try to come to a conclusion. We have scenarios that were written up that they'll get before they come into the house. They'll come in, approach the scene like they normally would, and kind of go from there.
So that's the reason why there's police officers on the scene as well as firefighters.
Right. In Villa Park, we have the fire investigation unit, which is comprised of fire department, fire investigators, and also police department, who are arson investigators. We're also members of the DuPage County Task Force, and that's who's out here today. The task force is combined of fire departments, police departments. We have state's attorney representative, members of the DuPage County Sheriff's Unit, the state's attorney's office, the evidence technicians, and we also have members of ATF and FBI on the team. So this is just a little way for the investigators to get some live fire training, which we don't get a lot of. A lot of times we'll do like what we do for the open house at the station, where we'll burn a low module. It's not as realistic as a real house, so we set fires up specifically to have them come in and take a look in a more realistic setting.
Okay, so is this training as well? I mean, certification for any
we have to keep up so many hours of continuing education every 4 years, so this drill counts towards those continuing education hours. Okay. And it's, like I said, it's unique that most of the time where it's a classroom setting, this is where we can actually come in and do some live, sifting through what was left of the furniture and try to determine the origin and cause.
Okay, can we walk through?
Yeah, come on.
Great.
And even though there's a lot of damage in here, this isn't really normal. It's usually a lot worse. We were limited to how far we could let the fire go, but in a real fire, the room would come to flash over, so everything would ignite at the same time. The damage would be a lot more extensive, but this is, we try to keep it somewhat reasonable.
Yeah, so you can work through it. Okay.
This way.
I'm glad I brought my light.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is showing some glass here too. What was that, like a? Oh, it was a mirror. Yeah. Okay. This is kind of compressed in time as far as investigating, right? I mean, these people are here for hours versus days, correct?
Most of the investigations we handle are usually done within the first couple hours, depending on the complexity of the case, but actually processing the scene usually takes somewhere between 2 to 8 hours, depending on how bad the damage is.
Okay.
So what we're doing today here is pretty realistic. I mean, they'd be called in, they come in, they process the scene, we come up with our origin and cause. Depending on what the origin and cause determination was, there might be follow-up investigation, interviews, that type of stuff. But this is, the processing of the scene only takes a couple hours.
Well, an example for the people in Villa Park, I mean, both you and Lieutenant Gilliland, who's behind us here, you both were on the scene for the VFW fire, not getting into the cause of anything like that, but you guys were there until like midnight that day.
Correct.
Okay, and that fire was 6 o'clock in the evening or something like that. So you're at least 6 hours
Correct.
working
Right.
on that scene, as well as cleanup.
Correct.
Okay. All right. All right. Got a good idea. All right. So this is the back bedroom. And what was the scenario back here again?
This is a juvenile fire center scenario.
Okay.
This is where we have a child playing with matches or a lighter. Once again, this is very common. A lot of times when a juvenile is playing with matches, they'll do it inside the confines of their rooms. They can shut the door so the parents don't know what's going on. Usually you see fire set in the closet, like we have a fire set here in the closet.
Okay. Is that, you mean they're hiding in the closet? With
Hiding
the
in the
matches?
closet, but also seen, or also they'll go underneath the bed, which is what happened over here on the bed, is that the juvenile would set the fire underneath the bed with the lighter. And a lot of times they'll discard the lighter underneath the bed. And what they also sometimes do is they'll remove the batteries from the smoke detector so the parents don't know that they're playing with smoke, because otherwise smoke detectors will go off.
Wow, this is frightening. Yeah. Okay. Kids playing with matches. Bad thing. And this is another bedroom.
Yeah, in this scenario is basically a unattended candle. This is where someone left the
Oh,
candle,
okay.
burning. It would have burned down. And believe it or not, this damage was strictly from a candle and some papers that were on the ground. This shows you how devastating fire can be, even with someone leaving. That's why we're so cautious and really want residents to avoid using candles, or if you're going to use candles, make sure it's nowhere near anything that can actually catch on fire.
And this is very common this time of year because of the holiday decorations.
Holidays, religious candles. But people just burn Roman candles, or just as, can be just dangerous.
So this damage was caused by something in the white area over there, down in there, that was
There's
on the
actually a
floor.
candle that was sitting on top of the little
Plastic
plastic dresser,
table?
and then it
Okay.
fell backwards, and it started the plastic on fire. People understand that plastic is extremely flammable. We have a big problem in Villa Park right now where we're having a lot of people put hot embers from outdoor fireplaces or barbecues into plastic garbage cans, and this is what happens is that
Oh, yeah.
it'll start the garbage can fire. We've had a couple fence fires and garage fires because they put the can up against the garage, discard their coal, their hot embers or their coals into that plastic garbage can. This is what can happen. But just think this was up against your garage. Now the garage is on fire. Your wooden fence is on fire.
But this type of candle, it doesn't have to be, like a stick candle that's obvious going to trip over. It could be
No.
one of those candles that's in a
Yep.
glass jar.
Or plastic glove and come in plastic now.
Okay.
Especially Roman candles, like for making your room smell better. They
Okay.
actually come in plastic now. That plastic can actually, if you leave a window open, that plastic can burn down, tip over because of the wind. If you have a pet or a young child, they can bump up against it and not realize that they knocked the candle over. But this is, we had a fire like this not too long ago where a basement was pretty severely damaged just by an unattended candle. So this is very common, what you would see just based on a candle.
And it went up to the ceiling and across the
Because
ceiling.
remember, heat rises, starting goes up and then kind of mushrooms across the top of the ceiling.
Not only potential loss of life, but I mean we're talking pretty significant damage as
Right.
far as the room and
Right.
repairing not just the furniture but
The walls, the windows, and look, you can see the smoke that comes out of the room into the hallway. And really, if this was just a bedroom fire, the smoke would, the extent of the damage would continue through the bathroom, the other bedroom, the living room.
going through the fire investigation scene were Lieutenant Gilliland and also Lieutenant Barton from the Villa Park Fire Department with us. And Lieutenant Gilliland was taking additional photos for training for an ongoing basis. So not only what happened here in the last few days will help to train some of the people that are involved in these types of investigations, but also the documentation that took place during the fire will help with training going forward. Electrical cords. You may want to extend electrical cords for lighting during the holiday season. Try to limit that big time. Make sure that the cords are safe, that they're UL approved, that they're able to sustain any possible damage that could take place from furniture or people in the room and not cause a short and therefore create the fires that you saw the damage from in this building. So important for our fire department to learn from and important for us to learn from in terms of what can happen in a home anywhere, including here in Villa Park. I'm Al Stash reporting from 419 South Monterey in Villa Park for TV VP Style.